Welcome to TARTLEcast with your hosts Alexander McKegg and Jason Rigby, where humanity steps into the future and source data defines the path.
Alex. Jason, team me up.
Yes, here we go. You ready?
Yeah.
Ready Player One.
Oh, that's great.
That
film.
movie. I want to ask you a question related to Ready Player One.
Spielberg, right?
Yeah, I think it was Steven Spielberg. Underrated movie. Should have gotten way more.
Totally underrated.
So, question on Ready Player One, and because I think people have seen that movie, so they can relate to this, and I want you to tie this in a philosophical way. The question is this: why are companies valuing people's data more than they're valuing the person?
Oh, why would you ask me something so heavy? The mindset that we currently have, and it's a lot like the IRS, which you and I both love.
Yes.
Is that people are nothing but a number that's feeding their system.
Mm-hmm.
So the mindset that we've had, this, collection of information that, companies have been doing on their clientele, I guess you would call it. They've looked at these clientele as clientele, not as human beings. So when you look at the concept of like Ready Player One, it's like, if I'm going to this place called the OASIS, which is this virtual reality world, one of the companies is saying on one side, well, how do we continue to like buy this virtual ad space in front of their eyes? Because I know that people are just money, right? It's like, how do we take it out of the user's pocket, the person's pocket? They've worked hard for this money. And how do we then channel it back to us? That's all it is. It's like, how do we move the wash back to us? It's like a bad mob story. And on the other side of it in the film, it's like, well, we're here because it's more of a community thing. We're here because this is just how people choose to interact in this day and age. It doesn't mean it needs to continue to be abused and people should be looked at like by a number, like as a number. Because when you do that, it removes the human sense. And at the same time, how are you supposed to uphold any quality morals or ethics, as a technology company or anybody that services large groups of people digitally? How are you supposed to say that you're operating in a manner that's for the benefit of the people that you've created this product for? You've created a product to give it to people so that you can come back and help yourself. That's what that mindset looks like. That's the number mindset. But the person mindset is we've created a tool that's here to help you. And let's continue to elevate you with that tool.
It's because it's just a crazy dichotomy, because when you look at like COVID that we're experiencing right now and the ability where people where they have to stay home, especially people that have underlying conditions. I was talking to someone the other day and they have heart issues, they don't want to get COVID.
No.
If they've had heart surgeries and stuff like that. So the reality is they're staying home. So having this oasis for them to be able to participate in and create community in a safe environment, you need that. So, because people would just go crazy in their home.
And we got to make sure that if that's the only outlet that people have at this moment, that we don't, not us, Tartle, but collectively, we don't commoditize people.
Yes.
Because people are not a commodity. It's a shame that it's called the labor force and they track it with the same sort of metrics that they use on cattle. Seriously, like think about it for a little bit, but
it's the same as the factory farming and all that.
It's that factory farming, if you're like, the cattle's up today, blah, blah, blah. It's like, they do the same things with human beings. How many people are in a job? How many are out of a job? They look at you strictly as an asset for the system. They don't look, it's like how many human beings are, healthy, living, breathing, happy human beings today.
Yeah. In our nation, if you want to say
in our nation. So we just, if people are going to operate in that old realm, let them, but just be aware, consciously aware that if you're going to spend your time from a connectivity standpoint in a digital realm, make sure that you're doing that through platforms that respect you for being a human being rather than just a number.
Or be the cause for that. Put information like make a podcast, do videos, whatever, call out. And I'm not saying they are, but like Twitch is this huge game lining this game community where everybody goes on there, and they may be an awesome company. I don't know. But if they're starting to commoditize things, I understand you need to pay for the platform, and we need ads and all that stuff. I get that, but it's that psychographic side of things that is, if I'm just looking at you, like you said, as a data set, as a 1 or a 0, and can I profit from you or not? That focus can change a company. You know as well as I do, we both hike. You can start off thinking you're on the right path, and then you go 10 miles in, you could be way off.
Yeah.
I mean, just a couple steps.
All you had to shift was 1/4 of a degree.
Yes.
And I am way off on my path. I'm so lost, I'm in a really bad spot. So we really do always have to make sure that you're on track. You don't treat people like a number, you treat them like a human being.
Yes.
And the people using those systems, just be aware of how that information does get used.
Yeah.
And if they're not telling you, red flag.
Yes, exactly. And I want to bring it back to Tartle. So when we look at Tartle and we look at the community that you've created, I want people to understand the intent and the heart. Because they may say, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I'm going to get paid for my data finally. Awesome. Tartle's more of a movement than it is an exchange.
Yeah.
Philosophically.
Listen, it's fantastic to get paid.
Yes.
For your information, as you should. You put labor into something, you should be paid for it. Right. But the real beauty of what we created is collective human power. Information, even though we've created so much of it, we've had a bad job of facilitating it where it needs to go, and especially getting it truthfully. And Tartle has the ability to collectively bring us all together as a community.
Yes.
To focus on things we care about, like COVID, heart disease, whatever it might be, pipelines, I don't care what it is, but now we have the ability to take all of our data, our thoughts, our behaviors, all those actions, and collectively put them together, because there's great power when we come together and focus on one specific thing. We can get those answers solved, right? We can create a vaccine for COVID because everybody focused on it.
Right.
And so if we do that same sort of model over and over and over again with the proper tool that elevates people, ask them to come together, cooperatively put their data together to create this collective power to solve problems for the greater good, now you're doing something really special. That's a real tool. That's a tool that treats people as people and says, us coming together with our data, look at the collective power and good we could do. Awesome that we got paid, but look at the problems we solved. Look at the lives that were saved.
Yes.
Right? Look at the waste that is no longer there anymore. Look at how bright our future looks for coming together and working as a group.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I think that's why it's so important. And we encourage everyone that's listening to this, be a part of the movement. They can go to tartle.co, sign up. It just takes a few minutes. It's free to do. It's a new platform. So don't expect miracles in the very beginning.
Don't expect miracles in the beginning. And also, listen, we hear you.
Yes.
So your feedback does not fall on deaf ears, and it takes time for us to iterate on this stuff. And so we just want to make sure we're giving you a tool with the highest amount of value possible so that it always accrues back to your benefit.
But every meeting we have, everything is about valuing humanity. Everything's about making sure the person's a human. This is not about creating a company to just to create something that just to make
effort.
Exactly, 100%.
No, our focus, if it does not unify, if it does not elevate, we do not do it.
Yes. And if it imposes on anyone's free will,
but that's the hard line.
Yep.
Total hard line right there.
I love that. Well, cool. Well, thanks, Alex.
Thank you for asking.
Ready Player One.
Ready Player One. Back to the OASIS.
Thank you for listening to TartleCast with your hosts Alexander McKegg and Jason Rigby, where humanity steps into the future and source data defines the path. What's your data worth?